Hello and welcome to what is part number 2 of this absolute disaster of getting this room done. So part number 1, we finished it like this. I did all the colours, it's still soaking wet because it's taken so long to dry. The green has literally just gone on. That's going to take about 3 more days to dry. So the start of this part has completely changed, which we discussed at the end of part number 1. So part number 2, what we're going to try and do is this whole strip will, by the end of this video, be green. But all of this in front of it will have to move. Now I've got nowhere to put it because that's all wet. So the plan was to put the stuff that's on this table, which was the stuff that was part of that display, to go back neat and tidy, and then that stuff could have easily gone over to there and it would have been fine. So what I'm going to do is just throw the stuff from this table onto this table, try and pull some tables out if I can. That then needs a stain coat on the bottom. That's going to take a good while for it to dry, and then I can paint the first coat green, and that way I can then put the second coat of green on with that and that all at the same time. And then hopefully by that point this wall and this wall would have been dry, and then I can actually touch all that up, and then we can see what this bit looks like properly. The yellow, we were talking about and ahhing about that at the moment. We'll figure out, we'll see what it comes like on the camera, because ideally I think the yellow needs to be a minifigure yellow, but we'll save that for part number potentially 3, and part number 4 will be that back wall there. So this is a four-parter because it's just taking so long to dry. But this part, I need to rip the towers off, I need to get the sets out, I need to just basically move everything. So I'm going to have to put it into this corner, but that orange is absolutely soaking wet, so I've got to make sure obviously the Lego does not touch that wall, and try not to drop anything all at the same time, which is absolutely fantastic. So we'll see what we can do, we can see what we can destroy. And then yeah, we'll just go from there. The first thing first, I think what we'll do, we'll get the paint up on the shelf. I think that might be a clever idea. So I've used bright blue, I've got sunrise yellow, which is not the best of yellow. That's the stain remover I'm using, so I need to keep that there. But the kiwi crush paint is still out and about. That has just gone on, so I need to clean the paintbrush of the orange. It's literally just finished that for part number 1, and then that leaves that big yellow go ahead and that. So if I can get this paper out of the way, we should then be okay. So obviously this back wall, which is going to go all orange, so all of this stuff got peeled off in part number 1, and now we've got the fun and games of trying to get stuff tucked into that corner without touching the orange from over here, so I can climb on the table to pull those off and then start. So I might put you somewhere for the first 30 seconds or so you can see how much of a disaster this might turn into, and then I'll stop, and then hopefully by that point there the tables will be clear. Right, fingers crossed you can see from there. First thing we will get moved is just these cars. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just put those cars just down there for now, and literally having to pile stuff on top of each other, which is not the greatest in the world. And then we will just, might have to do this table at a time, might just have to clear one table and then maybe paint it, and then shift the stuff over to the next table, paint that next bit. That might be the easiest and safest thing to do. It's just a lot of moving. Like I said at the start, the plan was to put everything back and just to move everything rather than having to move everything a couple of times. But that blue has been drying for a few days now, and it's still not dry, and I need to get all of this done basically as quick as possible because I don't have days and days to wait. So if we can get the Apocalypseburg and the Cantina out of the way, I think that might do the trick, hopefully. And then I reckon I can climb up onto that table, get that bit done, move it over, get that bit done. It just means I'm going to have to move everything a couple of times when the colour goes on as well, which is not ideal, but I need to be able to get to back green. So let us know how you do yours. Do you manage to get all yours downstairs? You put everything into a completely different room? Don't forget I'm in a loft, so I can't take any of this down the ladders, which is an absolute nightmare. But I'm keeping everything well away from the wall. This is the fruity one, which I have just done like a comparison unboxing for, and I forgot how detailed this set was. It's such a shame it's on such a short run, but I think it's a beautiful looking set. Right, if I can climb up on this and not get destroyed by any thumbtacks whatsoever. We can take these off, and then I can cover the stuff that's behind it. All going well, because there is just a load of stuff behind there, so that can all be covered, and then I can get the next bit painted. There we go. I hammered all of these in for the lives, just to make it a little bit more tidy, not really thinking that the cats would love to play with them. So that's what the cats have done. This was all toweled up, sort of orange and black, and it did look half alright, but it should look a lot better. Should look a lot better now we're getting through. So I will mess around, just tidy up some bits and pieces down at the back, and then hopefully by that point we'll catch back up and this bit would have been painted white. So I thought I'd try and just retest the time lapse. So you got me just talking away for 2 more after this, but the paint took forever to dry. It took probably 4, maybe 5 days to dry in total. It was an absolute nightmare. But you're going to catch back up with myself now. Oh, that stuff smells so bad. Right, it looks better. So you can see, hopefully, the 2 different colours. You can see where it sort of got to. Hopefully it's picking it up on the camera. But it's much, much cleaner. So I'm just got to get underneath, which I'll do now. I'll get that moved off that wall, and then we'll just go all the way up. I'll keep it on a time lapse just to see what it looks like, and then you guys can sort of see exactly what's going on. It's obviously just painting, nothing massively exciting. I'm too lazy to move the other smaller stuff. Obviously I need to move the Ghostbuster firehouse, so I get that pulled out of the way. I need to get that towel off, and then that stuff in the corner obviously needs to go and skedaddle, and then hopefully I can then get that done. And because it's on the wood and it's not cold compared to the brick, that should be dry within a few hours, which means I should be able to get the green on by the end of day today, which is really, really exciting. So exciting, it's more work, but at least it's something I can actually crack on with and get done. Right, continue. So what I need to admit is I actually fell through the table gap underneath the plug while I was sorting some bits and pieces out later on, but annoyingly all of the later files got corrupted on the memory card. I actually lost everything that was on the card. So all of that stuff happened on the second day of me doing this, and I lost a lot of stuff from a lot of trips, which is really annoying. So the card wanted to be reformatted. I'm now going to have to take it in somewhere to see if they can retrieve some of the data, which is really, really annoying. But you will, again, catch back up with myself in a second. But we did manage to get all of this painted and went underneath as well, and I think it does actually look quite nice. And that is that. Now that looks so much better. Now the plan is now that's going to take ages to dry. That's still drying. So what I'm thinking of doing is just taking the bits off the table to put it over to this side, so I can actually get all of that brickwork done and tidied up, and that way that can then just be attacked at a later date, but I don't have to wait for it to dry. So because there's not that much to move, and then when this is all painted and with the correct colour, I can then pull all of this off, because there's quite a lot to move for that side to get behind there and to get behind here. Even though it doesn't take long to paint, there's just a lot to move, whereas there's quite a bit to paint on that bit but not much to move. So I might as well do that now, and they might as well just dry at the same time. No, it's a bit depressing watching this back at the speed of it, because I'm sure it took a lot longer to move all these boxes when I was up there. I'm sure I lost most of the day, but I'm really glad that I did not drop that Harry Potter box, nor did I end up falling through this floor either, because this is actually the loft hatch up to the loft, obviously, and that's what I have to stand on for the whole time of me doing this back wall. So that's nice and exciting. So that's why it took a little while to do, because I was more balancing act and had 1 foot on the loft ladder and everything else. But at the time of me now doing this voiceover, I have actually added the colour to this back wall, but it is currently drying. And going by all of the other colours that are up in this loft, it does take about 5 or 6 days to dry, just because it is so cold. Now, annoyingly, like I said, I have lost lots of footage after this, so it does end quite quickly, which is really annoying, because I do end up doing this kind of thing for adding all the green and everything else like that, but that I'm afraid you don't see. So I do apologise how it just suddenly finishes. So I actually had to come back up and then just redo the outro. Right, that is the next bit covered. Obviously I have to dab the dots in with when the colour goes on. Now I am going to pull those out, because I've now got that green table free, which then means I can pull those bits off and I'll be able to reach behind there, and then we'll get to here at the very least. To be fair, I might just try and get all of that done, and then obviously in the next upload it'll be a different colour. But that's still drying, so we're still well away from being able to paint that green, and the back wall's still absolutely soaking wet. So I'll just carry on, pull it out, get the bits and pieces on the green table, and then we'll see what's what after. So we end up now moving all of the superhero section, just pull that away so I can actually paint the rest of it white, and then obviously rip off all the wallpaper and things as well, which was, I thought it would be a little bit harder than what it was, but luckily I did manage to crawl in there and get it all peeled off, so that was lucky. And then well, there you go. So luckily I didn't end up smashing anything, because that roof is not the highest at that angle, so that's why the Daily Bugle can't go all the way to the back wall. But we got it done in the and that bit is almost done. So that's been that side, that back wall, and that back bit. You can definitely see the colour difference on these two, just where it's all horrible to where it's all fresh. Obviously this is all going to go orange. I will redo those panels as well white at some point. We'll just see what the Lego covers up to start with, and see what's what, because it all needs to be pulled back proper. But we'll see how that comes over. What I've got to do is get that bit done, and then it is literally a case of everything is wet, so I can get some bits and pieces sort of covered and try and start touching some bits and pieces up on that. But you will catch back up with me when it's time to put the green on the side of the wall. And just like that, that side is done and completely finished. So hopefully it looks all right on the camera, but that is it for part number 2. Part number 3 is going to start with us trying to get all the bits and pieces painted orange on the other side. But I've thrown some bits and pieces underneath to make it look a little bit darker, and it's come, I think it's come out okay. That is its second coat. It's drying currently for its second coat. So there's bits and pieces that we need to do and tidy up in the corner. But apart from that, I think we might be able to get away with it. But guys, that is it. I'm done for part number 2. Part number 3 is going to be messy. I think there's a lot to move in part 3 now, but it is what it is. So guys, if you can like and subscribe and all that good stuff, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You guys take care, and I'll catch you next one. Ta-da.